Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about malicious software that is called malware also. So what is malware? Malware is malicious software that can be divided into two categories: malwares that need a host or malware that are independent. So basically malwares are is a software which harms your computer, your program, your file system, or even your storage. So some kind of malwares need certain host, or they need some help to spread, and some spread independently. What are the intentions? Intentions are cause misery to a user, problem to a user, damage files, data or systems, and it may also disrupt normal computer and network functions. Types of malwares: viruses, worms, Trojan horses. These are some types of malwares. So what are softwares? What are viruses softwares? It attaches itself to a program and propagates copies of itself to other programs. And typically it affect executable program, script or macro, boot or partition sector of a drive. So virus is a kind of program which is attaches itself to some executable program and replicates and spreads throughout the system. What are the phases of viruses? Dormant phase. In this phase, the virus sits idle. It does not do anything. In propagation phase, it places an identical copy of itself into another program. So in initially it is idle, but after that, next phase, in that phase, it try to copies, or it makes it a copy of itself, and it attaches with some programs, right? Now in triggering phase, it is activated to perform the function for which it was intended. It is awaken phase, means in this phase it awakes, it triggers. Now it is ready to propagate itself or replicate itself. In execution phase, it does function, it executed and do the function for which it is intended, or it is meant for that. So the function is performed. Function may be harmless or damaging. The function is not always necessary that may be harmless, but sometimes it is damaging also. The classification of viruses: virus can categorize in different types. In basically, they how they protect themselves from detection or from a virus scanner. So first one is parasitic. Parasitic is a common type of virus, or it is a conventional virus. This is also called traditional, means it attaches itself to executable files and replicates. When the infected program is executed, by finding other executed files, it is infect others. Now stealth virus is that kind of virus which hide itself by some scanner or from some antivirus. So this kind of viruses explicitly designed to hide itself from detection of antivirus software. Now polymorphic. Polymorphic is a kind of virus which mutates the infection, and the mm, the nature of the all the kind of viruses which mutates are of the same type. In metamorphic virus, it is also same as polymorphic viruses, which mutates with every infection, but every time when it mutates may have different natures. So it is in varying of nature, varying nature. Another classification is destructive, which harms always, or which damage your system always. Now another malware is worms. So worms are what? Worms are programs that replicate on the same computer or send themselves to many other computers. Hmm. And it can open a backdoor. Backdoor is a kind of also called trapdoor. Backdoor is a secret entry point into a program that allows someone that is aware about backdoor to gain access without going through the usual security access procedure. So worms open a door for unauthorized access, or the hacker or attacker which try to gain access of your system by for for getting the information, or harm your system. How worms spreads? It spreads through email facility. A worm mails a copy of itself to another system. And remote execution capability. A worm executes a copy of itself on another system, then it spreads over there also. Remote login capability. A worm log onto a remote system as a user and then uses commands to copy itself from one system to another. Right? So through login, it may log into another system as a user, a normal user, and through some command, it copy itself over there. Another kind of malware is Trojan or Trojan horses. It is also a software malware, a program that first appear as usual, useful like it is a normal program, but it can perform unwanted function to damage or provide a backdoor. It also provide backdoor, which I told you in the last slide, that it open a door through which any unauthorized, without any security checkup, a check, it can enter into your system. So example of Trojan horses are backdoor.egghead, AOL for free, and Simpson Apple script virus. So what are the countermeasures of malicious software? How you protect your system from damage or from your vulnerabilities or malicious software or malware? So first of all, install updates, install antiviruses, scanners, virus scanners. View what is loaded when a system is booted. Use malicious software scanners. Use digital signatures for system and drivers files. Backup systems and create repair disks. Create and implement organization policies. So through all these points, you are able to protect your system or protect from any damage or harm. Now, what is non-repudiation? Non-repudiation prevents either sender or receiver from denying a transmitted message. Non-repudiation is the assurance that someone cannot deny something. Sender receiver are the two communicating party, but when the sender and receiver send certain message and receive certain message, they are not able to deny that message is not sent by them or received by them. So this is the non-repudiation. Nobody can deny that he is not transmitted the message or received that message. Now what is uniform resource locator, URL? The URL is nothing more than address of a given unique resource on the web. When you want to open certain site or web page, then you need the location. So you have to give the complete location of that web page onto the address bar. Each valid URL points to a unique resource. Such resources can be an HTML page, a CSS document, and image. Every URL is unique. Through that uniqueness or that unique name, you can find out the particular page on the web. Example is such http www.example.com/index.html. Example.com is a web page where you want to get access the index page of the example.com site. URL. There are some exceptions. The most common being a URL pointing to a resource that no longer exists or that has moved also. As the resource represented by the URL and the URL itself are handled by the web server. All the URL handled by a web server. It is up to the owner of the web server to carefully manage the resource and its associated URL. So who is the owner who makes the website is have responsibility to manage the URL properly. Now what is URI? Uniform Resource Identity is a string of characters that unambiguously identifies a particular resource. So basically the URL is the classification of URI. To guarantee uniformity, all URI follow a predefined set of syntax rule, but also maintain extensibility through a separately defined hierarchical naming scheme. So this is a uniformity on the web, that the URI should be that this way or that way. So that string, that syntax should be fixed and predefined. An example is that HTTPS. The difference between URI and URL is URI can be further classified as locator, as name, or both. So basically URL is a part of URI. So in term URL refers to the subset of URI that, in addition to identifying a resource, provide a means of locating the resource by describing its primary access mechanism. The term uniform resource name has been used historically to refer to both URI which are required to remain globally unique. HTTP. HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The Hypertext Transfer Protocol is an application level protocol for distributed collaborative hypermedia information system. As you all heard about HTTP, it is application layer protocol. HTTP is the underlying protocol used by the World Wide Web (WWW), and this protocol defines how messages are formatted and transmitted, and what actions web server and browser should take in response to various commands. So, what are the basic features of HTTP? HTTP is a connectionless. The HTTP client or browser initiates an HTTP request, and after a request is made, the client waits for the response. The server processes the request and send a response back, after which client disconnect the connection. Client and server knows about each other during current request and response only. Further requests are made on new connection. That means in HTTP, the client requests for certain thing. He requests something to the server, and he waits for the response until he get the response. Then server process that request, and once it respond to the client, after that it is the connection disconnected, right? So server and client only know each other only that particular time when the request and response is activated. After that, when they want to, the client want to request something, want to get something, he again establish an equation connection, right? Another kind is HTTP is media independent. It means any type of data can be sent by HTTP as long as both the client and the server know how to handle the data content. It is required for the client as well as the server to specify the content type using appropriate MIME type, right? So here any kind of data, any form of data can be transferred, and that is media independent. HTTP is media independent, no matter which kind of data is transmitted over there. So basically they using appropriate MIME I have told you in the previous lecture. So it is used in the email messaging. HTTP is also stateless. As mentioned, HTTP is connectionless, and it is direct result of HTTP being a stateless protocol. The server and client are aware of each other only during a current request. Afterwards, both of them forget about each other. Due to this nature of the protocol, neither the client nor the browser can retain information between different requests across the web page. So it is only the time dependent. Once the client wants some information, they make the connection, and after that, only that duration the server and client aware of each other, they know each other. After that communication, they forget about each other, they don't know each other, right? Now, what are the cookies? Cookies or computer cookies are also known as HTTP cookies, web cookies, internet cookies, or browser cookies. The cookies is a term for packet of data that a computer receives then sends back without changing or altering it. It stores the information of the web, whatever the activity you are performing, and it returns, that cookie returns that information as it is without changing. A computer cookie consists of information. When you visit a website, the website send the cookies to your computer. Your computer stores it in a file location inside your web browser, right? For the ease of access. Web security problem. So as we have seen lot of protocols, lot of security protocols, or different layers of OSI layer or TCP/IP protocol in transport layer, network layer, and application layer. All the layers provide different kind of security. Why? Because there is some problem. There is some problem on the web, on the internet, on the system. So that is web security problem. What are those web security problem? Code injection. First is code injection. Hackers are sometimes able to exploit vulnerability in applications to insert malicious code. So here we have already seen what are the SSL problems in internet exchange, transformation of information. So one is code injection or SQL injection, which we have seen. So hacker can inject certain code as a software vulnerability, and through that it is able to insert some code that harm your computer. That is called malicious code. So the vulnerability is found in a text input field of user, such as for a username where an SQL statement is entered, which runs on the database in what is known as SQL injection attack. SQL statement may some code is inserted in SQL statement. Some code is inserted. Some malicious code is inserted. That is kind of attack. Data breach. Another kind of problem is data breach. Effect on data integrity. They are often caused by compromised credential, but the range of other common causes include software misconfiguration, lost hardware, or malware. So data breach is basically is harm your data and affect your data integrity. Another kind of problem is malware infection. Some level of security threat imposed by malware. There were a lot of malware we have seen already. So these are some security threat which is imposed. And another kind of web security problem is distributed denial of service attack, DDoS, which involves a group of computers being harnessed together by a hacker to flood the target with traffic. So denial of service attack is something which overloaded the traffic, or which problem which creates the problem on creating some network problem by the overloading the network. Now comes to the penetration testing. What is penetration testing? A penetration test, also known as a pen test, and this is simulated cyber attack against your computer system. Okay, and penetration testing is a type of security testing that uncovers vulnerabilities, threats, risk in a malware in a software application network or web application that an attacker could exploit. The purpose of pen test is to find the security vulnerability that are present in the system being tested. So penetration testing is basically to find out the vulnerability, to find out the infection which is happened through malware, or through some code injection, and any kind of attack. For that, penetration testing or pen test is used. So what are different types of penetration testing? That is black box testing, black box penetration testing, white box penetration testing, grey box penetration testing. What is black box penetration testing? In black box penetration testing, a tester has no knowledge about the system to be tested. He is responsible to collect information about the target network or system. So black box testing, in that the tester who is testing does not know about anything about the system, and he is try to solve the problem of vulnerability or malware by collecting the information. Another kind of testing is white box penetration testing. In white box penetration testing, the tester is usually provided the complete information about the network or system to be tested, including the IP address, schema, source code, OS detail, etc. So in that, everything is known to a tester who is testing. He know all about that system, so that he is easily able to get the problem of the system through body box testing. This can be considered as a simulation of an attack by any internal sources, such as employees of an organization. Now, what is grey box testing? In that, the tester should have partial knowledge of the system. It may know something about the system. It is not the blank. It knows something about the system. It can be considered as an attack by an external attacker who had gained illegitimate access to an organization's network infrastructure or document. So these are the references: William Stelling's Cryptography, Network Security, or some web resources. So for up till now we have seen malicious software such as virus, worms, Trojan horses, types of viruses, phases. Then we have seen HTTP cookies, URL, URI. Then we have seen the problem which occurs in web security. So web security problems we have seen penetration testing, we have seen non-repudiation and all. Thank you.